Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jester501 and today I want to go over some new Atlas patch notes. Now the servers are currently down because one of these patches are coming out, so this is a good time to go over this. It's going to be a long video because there is a patch that's supposed to come out Monday right here. There's a further out, which is just whenever stuff that they're planning on doing that they've told us about so far. And then the patch is currently being uploaded right now is this. And I've read through a lot of these patch notes, and I really like a lot of the changes, especially the one that's coming out now. And Monday, there's a ton of good changes too. I think a lot of this stuff is very good for the game. Now, the first thing is default resource and taming speeds have been increased to 2 times as a baseline. Now, we just had a 2.5 times increase to taming and gathering as a limited event. And what I assumed with that is that they're testing you know, what players want and how fast they think the speed should be. And increasing the 2 times is pretty nice. The taming doesn't seem too bad right now. The increase is still good. But with taming in this game, I think it's nice that they're going away from just the super long time sink and babysitting of a trained animal to a more active taming style. Even though the tame times aren't super bad right now, I think it's so good that they're increasing those, because you need a good amount of resources to get these animals tamed. You have to trap them, you need all your bolas, all the things they eat. They can still attack you when they're bolad, so you could possibly die. Tons of stuff. So that's a good change. Resource increase, I think, was needed. Even at a big company, and like Zerg farming entire islands, those resources still go really quick, especially with how expensive ships are. So good changes for me. And overall, for these changes and changing going forward with this game, if you guys never played Arc Early Access or the beginning of the Early Access, they did changes like this every day. Just tons of balance changes, new additions, stuff like that. And the balance changes, if they implemented stuff like this, it does not mean that they wouldn't go back and be like, okay, we tuned it too high, or players like it better the way it used to be, or we think now it was balanced, more balanced the way it used to be. They will revert it or balance it more. So a lot of this stuff does not mean it's still super early. This game's going to be in early access for 2 years. So a lot of the stuff can still be changed, but I think a lot of where they're going is good for the game right now. Reduce minimum damage and minimum percentage on a flame arrow buff by 33%. So basically they're just nerfing the flame arrows, which is super good, because if you don't know, flame arrows do percentage damage when you catch something on fire. And you can shoot them at the ground, catch a ground on fire, stuff that runs into it takes percentage over time, a big chunk of their health. And they were, bar none, the most overpowered thing in the game, so I'm glad they're being nerfed more. Reduce max damage done on flame arrow projectile hit to 50. Now, I think what that is specifically targeting is when you hit someone with an arrow. If you direct hit them with the flame arrow, I think it's reducing that. It's not necessarily reducing the max like the fire over time effect will do. Increase gravity on the flame arrows to 20% by 20% to make it less range. So that's basically if you shoot an arrow up in the air or at a big angle, it'll basically, it won't go as far. Pretty much that's what it is. You could shoot these things ridiculously far. It makes sense because it is also still a percentage fire hit basically. So even when it gets nerfed, it's still going to do percentage, especially, and it's still super good against ships. It'll still probably be good against ships as well. So just shooting ships that are super far offshore or just super long range fire attacks. Glad they're nerfing it a bit. Increases fire gel cost of flame arrows by 100%. Now, at first I was like, that's kind of a big nerf to this because it's not super cheap as it is. I could definitely see a bit of a nerf, but we did just get 2 times increase for resource gathering. So it does make sense because they do want to keep these flame arrows balanced and nerfed. And we did just get basically a doubling of how quick we get resources. So it does make a little more sense when you, you know, look at the overall picture of these changes instead of just that single change. Add a durability consumption of flame arrows and stone arrows, 1 durability per shot, 40 shots per bow repair on the base bow because you can't get blueprints. which I think is nice. Bows before you could shoot like hundreds and hundreds of arrows without needing repair. I don't think I ever repaired a bow once in this game because they would just take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of arrows. So it's a pretty good change right there. Change bow durability from 50 to 40, so you actually have to repair them. They're not even expensive at all, really. It's just that they just never broke. Fix a bug, which allowed mortars to have rapid fire. Thank God they fixed this. Basically what was happening is there was a glitch that would basically allow you to shoot mortars like fully automatic almost, like just shoot a ton at a time. And mortars are pretty strong, so you could just destroy stone buildings, stone walls, stuff like that super quickly. And there was even like big streamers exploiting this, using like only attacking people because they specifically have this glitch, this exploit to use. And a lot of people are actually wanting those like big streamers and stuff that were shown on video to be clearly exploiting this consistently to be dev wiped. And I don't know how much I can disagree with that, because this isn't something like, oh, you do a little extra damage on something, or you do some extra torpor on something like that. This is like, I have a fully automatic mortar that I can at range destroy your base with. Much bigger than a lot of other glitches that have been in this game so far. Fix an issue where upkeep timer and PvE claim flags were not correctly updating. I don't play PvE, I don't really know a lot of the PvE stuff. Company groups and alliance data loss issues should hopefully be resolved. I think some of this was like, if you ever accidentally respawned at a free port, you could get kicked out of your company sometimes, and some other stuff. I think one of the streamer groups like had their entire company like disbanded on one of the updates. So hopefully all that stuff is fixed with that. Companies are now hard limited to 500 members, and this is a current measure until the company system receives a backend overhaul in the long term. I don't know if this is like a technical thing where stuff was starting to lag or have issues because there were so many members. I think on any PvP, I think I've only heard of one company having like 1,000 people or over 500. I think that's Dynasty. And I don't even know if that's 100% true, but either way, if there's even tribes that are over 500, it would only affect a few. Fix inland water buoys being invisible, and fix buoys so they no longer prevent resource spawn. Prevent ship collision damage from occurring when caused by other player ships on PvE servers. Fix sunken ship area indicator lingering even after a shipwreck has been entirely salvaged. Reduce deep water aggressive creature frequency and targeting range. I can't really comment on that one. The only thing I've actually used for underwater right now is basically to die from aggressive creatures. So I haven't done much on it there. Melee weapons are now temporarily inactive against ship planks. Later this will be changed so it will only be ineffective against anchored ship planks. So some things to note with this is only ship planks. This isn't like the ceilings and stuff like that you customize a ship with. This is specifically planks. Now the first change on this, which is happening right now, is just a band-aid until they do the actual fix they want, which I think is on Monday. And I think it's a good fix that you can't damage anchored ships with melee weapons, but you can when they're unanchored out at sea. That's nice because people could just be running around griefing huge tribes because they don't have someone sitting on every boat of theirs to know if it's sinking or not. They could just destroy a plank, the boat sinks, and then is destroyed. And that's nice. You can't do it against anchored ships. It's nice that they're keeping it so you can do it against ships that aren't anchored. So if you're out at sea and you take someone's ship and you don't want to stay there to claim it, or you don't want to protect it for the duration of the claim, basically, you can just destroy some planks and sink if they don't get back there and repair it fast enough. So I think that's a pretty good change. Sailing against a wind now provides 30% of the with the wind sail force as opposed to 0%. So I'm pretty sure what this is changing is if you try to sail directly against the wind right now, you don't move. And they're going to be adding it so you move basically at 30% speed, basically, so you're actually moving, which is nice because I've had times where the wind literally does not change for like a half an hour. So if you're trying to go one direction, it's like you can't go that direction at all. And now you can go slower if you want to go like directly in that direction, or you can maybe go off course a little bit, go faster, and then try to readjust when the wind changes. much better, so you're not just sitting there when you're against the wind. And even if you make some like ports for your base, the wind could be completely in opposite, so you couldn't even get out of your port. Also increases the amount of sail force provided by minimum wind speed conditions by 30%, and the sail force provided by maximum wind speed conditions by 15%. So I'm pretty sure this is just overall. Now, with the word, it's a little bit weird, but I'm pretty sure this is basically increasing the minimum wind speed increase you get when following the wind, and then increasing the maximum speed you get when you are following the wind. So overall, this is making it go faster. This is pretty nice because the game is still super big to traverse, and I think speeding up a bit is a pretty good change because it is quite long. Every tame can now get a minimum of 30 tame level ups put into it, plus however many base levels it had when wild. So for example, a level 5 wild wolf would get 35 tame level up applies, whereas a level 40 wild wolf would get 70 tame level ups to use. This is a really good change and a massive change. So basically how it was before, by wild levels they mean after tame. So we'll tell you what the level is of your animal after tame in its information. So basically, if you got a level 5 wolf, if you tamed a wolf and it was level 5 right after you were done taming it, before you'd be able to level it up 5 times and that's it. Now they're making it so you get 30 levels no matter what. So if you get a level 1 wolf after you tame it, you can get it to level 31. But if you get a, you know, as they say, a level 40 wolf that's level 40 after you tame it, you can put 70 levels into it. Now this is pretty big because animals were quite a bit weaker. They did just buff them, which helped a bit. Now with this, animals are still decently low to level as well, so this gives you more to keep doing, to keep increasing animals, to keep certain ones alive longer, to try much harder to keep them alive, to keep them leveling, to get stronger and stronger. I think it's a really good change. Increases base carry weight of all ships by 40%. That's massive. I think it's a really good change. Ships did seem like you couldn't carry much, especially after you filled up with cannons. It's like I have no weight to carry anything. You basically had to do very small amount of cannons on ships or no cannons to be like trading, you know, carrying ships. So that's a really good change. All of this, most of the stuff I agree with. I think it's pretty good changes. Further out, I'm pretty sure we've actually gone over this before because it was just in a coming soon update. So we've gone over all of this before basically. Now this is the one coming Monday. Pretty big stuff in here too. Claim flags now allow a neutral zone setting. So it's not baseline, it's a setting you can do, which allows any other tribes to build within them with a specified tax rate applied to them. You're also able to specify an inclusion or exclusion list to these to only allow or exclude specific companies, player IDs, and that's it. All claim flags will have this enabled as a default setting when placed, and this will be a retroactive change. However, it will not be functional until Wednesday the 9th of January at noon Eastern, where we will release another update to make neutral zones active. This means you'll have 2 days from Monday to Wednesday to decide to adjust the settings on your claim flag before the change is live. So basically what this is doing, right now if you have something claimed, no one can build there unless you're in your company. What they're allowing this to do is you can set it to, if you want a company to be able to build there, a specific player to be allowed to build there, and they can build on your claim. They don't take your claim, they can build on it with, you know, their buildings being there as normal buildings, and then whatever tax rate you have set for gathering and stuff, that's the tax rate they still get, but they can live there. So basically, this is what it should have been at the start. I think they probably just didn't have it implemented like this yet, because this is basically what we were told we were going to be able to do. And now, if you have big companies that own whole islands, you can let like solo players or small companies build their own base and stuff, and then everything they gather, they get taxed if you have a taxation bank up. So you get resources from them. So that also makes big companies have incentives to let other people build on their island and protect those people because they're always out gathering, giving you free stuff. Super good change. Server performance improvements. That's good. The servers have been kind of getting a bit worse. All cannons slash turrets can now be pin code protected for lever activation slash deactivation. That's also pretty good that you can pin code, you know, cannons and turrets. There are 4 times as many trade ships on these seas, and they now sell commodity types for gold, as do NPCs at free ports. So I think there's different skins you can buy at free ports. There's like the front of ships. I forget what those are called. You can buy for gold as well. I think that's what they're meaning. And 4 times as many trade ships. So it's basically just more trade ships you can go buy stuff from and get on. Lawless servers can no longer be specified as home servers. If your home server is a lawless server, you'll be required to pick a new Freeport home server upon respawn. Now this is a good change. So basically the free ports were basically the sections around, or lawless servers were the sections around free ports. They did this to relieve congestion when so many new people were getting in the game. And you're not able to claim there. You can build there, and it has like a duration till it gets destroyed basically, but you can't claim there, so other people could build an inch next to you, right? This is a good change. We don't exactly know if we're going to be able to claim there yet, if they're still considered lawless servers, or if they're just changing them back to normal sections of the map that's like everything else. I hope it's just like everything else, because there's a lot of good land that are lawless servers that can't be claimed right now. You can now buy a ramshackle sloop from the NPC shipyard man at free ports. The ramshackle sloop is a pre-built sloop which is permanently lower at plank HP carry weight and crew limit, but it's cheaper and faster to acquire if you want to get into sailing faster. So I'm pretty sure this is the same guy that gives you rafts at the free ports, and it's just basically a toned down sloop, so you can get a sloop instead of a raft when you first start off if you want to get that much resources there. I think that's a really good change, because just going out on rafts kind of sucks. Getting an actual boat is much cooler. Favorites, server selection dropdown is added for unofficial. Joining through Steam browser server list with password now properly caches the password for Atlas travel. Fix up some temperature scalings and weather events are now indicated on the HUD. Armor effectiveness will be adjusted so that firearms are more useful in PvP. That's a very good change. So I have actually had this happen in a PvP situation. I had a carbine and 2 pistols which you can carry. I shot the guy. I didn't get any headshots, I don't think, but I shot the guy with the carbine and hit both my pistol shots, and he was at about half HP and had plate armor on. That doesn't make much sense, because if I hit him with 2 fire arrows, he was dead. Kind of ridiculous, because the carbines and pistols are much more expensive than arrows and fire arrows, or bows and fire arrows. That very good change. Weapons were not near as strong for PvP. Unless people were naked, then that was alright, but shooting through armor didn't do much damage. Okay, where are we up to? Remove sea claims. They weren't very useful at present. Enemy claim flags can now be directly pinged to identify any contesting enemies nearby, and the time required to seal an enemy claim now decreases the more claims that enemy has. So basically, no sea claims. That kind of makes sense. Sea claims didn't make much sense. It's actually going to remove a lot of overall claim, because people were just, to get on the leaderboards too, people would just go out and take the time to just claim everything out in the sea. So a lot of the big tribes have to actually have a ton of their claim area just in the sea doing nothing. And like, what are you claiming there? No one's going to really build a base in the middle of the ocean. So that makes sense. And basically, how I'm understanding the second change is that the more claims that enemy has, the faster it is to steal a claim. So basically, Dynasty, I think, is a top in the game. No, I think it's like CTSD or something like that. But say if Dynasty, one of the biggest claims in NA PvP, say if someone tries to steal some of their claims, it's going to be faster than some company that's not even on the top 10, right? We don't know the times of that, but I think that's a decent change. So it makes it easier to, you know, kind of push back bigger companies, but it slows down as you start to push them back. I think that's a pretty good change and a good way to balance it. Reduce shovel stamina cost. That makes sense. So if you shovel up like water, you know how you can dig water with your hands to get 60 water. Shovels give you 600, but you would basically be completely stammed out from like shoveling one thing. You can also shovel up like different resources and stuff out of the ground. You can now fill water skins / jars from ground spots. That's a very good change. So basically before, the only way you could fill water jars and stuff like that and water skins was if you got a water barrel, filled it up with the rain, and then did it. And it's much better that you can dig up water and fill them. Metal tools can no longer damage the planks of anchored ships. So that's basically the real change they wanted. The change we just went over where you can't damage planks at all. This is the actual one, which you'll be doing on Monday. 50 more player levels added and skill points per level increased. Now I'm wondering, so if you don't know how to get more overall levels, when you start the game, your max level is 51. There is the main quest in the game to get 9 power stones, basically. Every power stone you get increases your maximum level right now. We don't know if this is a baseline, we're going to have 101 levels now, or if this is going to be like, maybe you get some more baseline levels and then they add some to every power stone. So we don't exactly know. I'm thinking it's just when you start the game, you can go to 101. Loot stat scaling has been boosted retroactively by 60%. So this is blueprints. What I'm getting from this, I'm pretty certain this is blueprints. And this makes sense because even if you had some like masterwork blueprints, which are really high tier, you'd get like maybe 15% increase to say like the durability of something. And if you don't know how blueprints work in this game, the higher tier ones, you need different basically different resources. So there's different types of wood in this game. There's softwood, there's hardwood, there's wetwood, stuff like that. They're all considered wood if you're using base stuff, but if you have a blueprint, it might say wood 55 times 3. So you need 3 different types of wood, all with the amount it tells you. And for how much different things you needed, which you had to go to different biomes, different islands, the amount, like the amount of increase you got wasn't good enough. So that's good that they are increasing that by quite a bit. Sea monster damage has been reduced to 66%. I have no idea what sea monsters are. I don't know if this is, you know, sharks, manta rays, and stuff like that. No idea. Some ships' costs have been adjusted, and in some cases reduced by approximately 50%. So ship cost reduction. It says some, so we have no idea what ships these are. It's just reduction. I think it's good. Some of the ships are pretty expensive for how good they are. Animals' health regen rebalance, so they're not regenerating high amounts whilst in combat. This is good. So basically, say if you were fighting a lion and there was multiple of you, or it was fighting something else, if it was eating a body, it would just constantly regen up. And if you didn't one-shot it, you basically couldn't kill it. So this is very good. Eating poop is now insta-death. This helps for trying to kill yourself faster, because a lot of people do that. They just kill themselves to re-get their health, their stats, their vitamins, all that type of stuff. Fix an issue where you couldn't kill yourself by exhaustion for stuck situations. So what that is basically right now, if you just punch and exhaust yourself, you'll start getting torpor. When you get to, I think, like 60% torpor, that'll stop going up, but you start losing HP. And you can go down to like 5 HP, I think it is. Then you won't lose any health. You won't gain torpor from like being exhausted. And if you were ever stuck anywhere, like I've gotten stuck from a loading glitch like inside one of our stone staircases, I had to wait till my guy from just standing there lost his food or water to die that way. It's very nice that eating poop now is into death, and kill yourself by exhaustion is also super good. I don't know why they just don't put a kill command in the game. I don't know if that would be some type of... Okay, actually, I know why the kill command is, now that I just think about it. It's so you can still trap people, basically. That makes sense. Maybe they could probably do it, so they could probably figure out how to do it to make kill commands not work if you're, like, in a cage or handcuffed or something. But I get why they're doing it, and these are some pretty good changes. So that's basically all the changes we're going to talk about. Like the video if you like it, subscribe if you want to see more Atlas content, leave a comment down below what you think about Atlas as a whole, what you think about all these changes. I personally think there's a lot of really good changes in here, and thanks for watching.